So the Airports Company South Africa will later this morning outline its plans for the peak season travel that's already kicked off for the festive season. Our business reporter, Ntokozo Khumalo, is at the OR Tambo International Airport for that briefing. And this briefing, Ntokozo, also coming on the back of those disruptions that we saw taking place at that very same airport when it comes to fuel shortages.
Good morning, Aldrin. While we are at ACSA's offices at the Western Prison, so the airport's just parallel from us, and of course, it has been a tough week for ACSA in terms of managing those refueling challenges that led to several flight delays. And if you see the board behind me, we do see that we do have some flights already delayed. Earlier on, there were about 3-4 flights that were facing some delays and gates closed. So some of the issues then the Airports Company South Africa has to continue monitoring, Aldrin, especially now that festive season travel really is in full swing. Already last week we saw people going to various destinations facing delays due to the SAA pilot strike, and then the refueling issues, of course, came again. ACSA earlier this year, or the Department of Transport, announcing that 21.7 billion rand infrastructure investments into various airports across the country. So certainly expecting CEO Mpumi Mpofu to sort of highlight where some of that infrastructure development is taking place, and whether these issues of infrastructure to deal with refueling issues is being thoroughly dealt with, Aldrin. Of course, we did face the very same issue in December 2022, where flights were unable to refuel. So that issue once again coming up. So in about 30 minutes or so, we are then going to hear from the CEO, who will give that update on how they plan to continue having that efficiency, good performance, and flights being on time over the festive season, Aldrin. So I'll give that update a little bit later on this morning.
Yeah, and we've also seen flights that have been affected from various other airports in Ntokozo, including the likes of the one in the Eastern Cape, Mthatha as well, with the air traffic and navigation system failures and some issues that have been raised there. Do we expect ACSA to deal with that, considering that it's not necessarily their mandate, but it is the Transport Department's mandate, but that does also have an impact on how ACSA is able to operate?
Well, interestingly enough, Aldrin, I've actually been working on a transport infrastructure feature, and really one of the key issues that all stakeholders are bringing up, including ACSA, is the importance of a more integrated plan when it comes to dealing with transport infrastructure, and that while some portfolios might not be ACSA's mandate, but there is certainly the need for those different stakeholders to work more closely, because there is a trickle effect. If one issue is not dealt with, it does then pour over to ACSA's mandate. So I expect that the CEO will dig into those issues on how the different stakeholders need to be working a lot closer to ensure that challenges around efficiency and the performance of infrastructure at South African airports is dealt with. So we can't be looking at these issues in isolation, Aldrin, because they do affect each other when it comes to the integrity of that infrastructure, especially when it comes to the sort of passenger numbers that ACSA expects to be seeing across its airports. Over 1 million passengers passing through the airports over the festive season last year, even more expected in the 2024 financial year. So, ACSA, the importance of them working with the different stakeholders to deal with those infrastructure challenges, I'm sure a priority focus area for them as they then look to give this update, Aldrin.